Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Oh, it's so weird. I can't hear you guys.
Now, can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, now I can.
Yeah.
I think it's something with my headset. Kind of weird. Sorry I was late. Stuck in the rain. I'm going to leave my camera off. I'm looking at a mess. Great. We're going to get started, Kathleen. So, hey, everyone. I'm Mary and Larry. I am one of the co-organizers of the NurseHack4Health Pitch-A-Thon. Welcome. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have a variety of organizers on the call. I think, might be nice for all of us to just introduce ourselves so those on the call get to know who we are. So, like I said, I'm one of the co-organizers. I'm also the Director of Innovation at Penn Nursing, and I've been involved with SunCL and hackathons for years. So really happy for this new endeavor with the Pitch-A-Thon, and I'll kick it over to Eileen if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure, Eileen Quilty. I work on the Johnson & Johnson nursing team. I've also worked on the hackathons over the past couple of years. Very excited to be here working on the Pitch-A-Thon, and really appreciate that the three teams are here listening to the orientation.
Nico.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Nico Shashi. I'm the Executive Director of SunCL. I'm very excited to be here this evening to welcome you as the first three teams to submit your eligibility forms. This is my going on third hackathon with the team and our co-organizers, and it's a great experience. And just want to let you know that we're here to support you throughout the entire journey. So welcome.
Cool. And Kathleen.
Sure, I'm Kathleen McGraw. I'm Chief Nursing Information Officer for Microsoft Health and Life Sciences. And I also have been contributing to, Microsoft has been contributing to the NurseHack4Health over the last few years, and we're very excited about this Pitch-A-Thon.
And since there's only three teams on, do you guys want to just introduce yourselves real quickly and what institution you're with? So, Sebastian, do you want to go first since you were on first? It looks like he said he'd be right back. Andrea, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Andrea Weaver. I'm from White Plains Hospital in Westchester, New York, and I'm actually just a lurker. I have not submitted my my application yet because I just got informed of the Nurse Hackathon this week, and so I have to go build my team, which I'm working on right now. But I have an idea, and so I wanted to just get as much information as possible.
Great. And Lise, is it?
Yes.
Great. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi. I'm Lisa Cooper. I'm with Morristown Medical Center, part of Atlantic Health System. And we are so excited to create what we have been dreaming of to protect nurse resilience and retention and satisfaction. This is the most amazing thing to me. I am kind of the lead on the project, and obviously my enthusiasm is over the top, but I'm very, very excited. And you will probably see me in almost every one of these because every little bit of information I can get is going to help us. Thank you.
Well, great. And then Sebastian, if you're back, we'd love for you to just quickly introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Sebastian. I'm working with Dr. Eubing. We're from Mount St. Mary College in Newburgh, New York. I'm a nurse in the CTICU at Westchester Medical Center, and we've previously done research together on heart failure at Mount St. Mary's.
Great. All right, so I'm gonna share my slide or start this slide presentation. There's gonna be a variety of slides. I'm gonna quickly run through them because this is really more about, I want you guys to feel comfortable with what the different steps are for the application, and then specifically the application itself. So if at any point you have questions, please feel free to stop me. There's 35 slides, but I want this to be more about answering your questions and less about me sort of telling you information. And once I share the screen, I won't be able to see anyone. So Eileen or Nico, if there are questions or hands raised, I won't be able to see them. So if you can just let me know.
Absolutely.
Alrighty. Cool. So, as you all know, this is our NurseHack4Health Pitch-A-Thon, and the focus area this year is really redesigning a healthy work environment where the workforce can thrive. And this is presented by Johnson & Johnson, SunCL, and Microsoft in collaboration with First Responders First and All In Wellbeing. So we already did the welcomes. I'm going to briefly talk a little bit about what a pitch-a-thon is. We'll go over the components of your application, and then really important, the components of a pitch deck. So we're going to run through all the pitch deck slides in detail so that you see exactly what you need to include in your pitch and pitch deck application. And then
my apologies. It didn't progress, the slide deck.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How about now?
No. Do you want me to?
No, I'm going to just, hold on. I'm just going to not share it full screen and we'll just go from there. So can you guys see the agenda slide now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So what is a pitch-a-thon? So some of you have been to hackathons, you know what those are, but a pitch-a-thon really is more of a longer process where you're putting together your teams, you're coming up with a problem and a potential solution that specifically for this one is nurse-led, and you're going to put together a pitch and pitch deck as your application, and then the finalists are going to give their pitch in front of a panel of judges. So you're going to be judged on a variety of components, which I'll talk about at closer to the end of this presentation. But it's less of, you're not working in a very constrained period of time, but you're really working with your health system and your team members over the next couple of months to put together a really robust pitch and pitch deck that you'll present to a panel of judges. And that's what a pitch-a-thon is, really focusing on the conception of what the problem is, who the population is that is affected, and what your potential solution will be in a refined way in this templated pitch and pitch deck, which I'll explain in a little bit. And obviously you have a chance to win up to $250,000 in grant funding to bring that innovative solution to life in your institution. There are 4 focused areas where you will have to select where your innovative solution falls into. So those 4 buckets are up on the screen here. One of them is focusing on giving clinicians more flexibility and autonomy. The next bucket is ideas around improving efficiency or improving your work environment. Third bucket is getting frontline teams the help they need. And then 4th bucket is ensuring adequate well-being, mental health, healthcare. So when you go in to apply for the pitch-a-thon, you'll have to pick which bucket your idea falls into. And this will be used so that, for the reviewers, we'll make sure that people who are reviewing these applications have expertise in these different areas, things like that. So you guys are already applying. So actually, I'm going to just pass that one. All right. So the overview of the NurseHack4Health Pitch-A-Thon. So step number 1, you have to complete the eligibility form. If you're in this information session, you should have completed the eligibility form already. I know that one person in here has not, but this is the second step of the application process. All teams who are applying have to attend one of these information application sessions because we're going to be going through all of the components of the application you're going to be submitting, and we want to make sure everybody has all the information they need to successfully submit this application. All the materials are then due for step 3, August 18th. We will be reviewing the applications between August 18th and September 16th, and then all teams will be notified by September 16th if they've made it through to the final pitch session on October 6th. So we're Not sure how many people are going to move through yet, but you'll be notified September 16th if you're going to be moved through to the virtual live pitch event. And then that's the point that the judges will pick the winner or winners of the Pitch-A-Thon. Any questions so far? Okay. So again, for just as a reminder, step 1 is the eligibility form. And for, I know there's at least one person on here who hasn't done that yet. Any health system with a 501c3 designation can apply. If you're not at an organization that is a 501c3, you can find a fiscal partner to apply with. All teams must be nurse-led, although we are encouraging the teams be interdisciplinary, but a team must be led by a nurse. And then it's not on this slide, but another thing just to reiterate, you must have health system buy-in and support for this application and for your project. So we want to see that your C-suite executives are supporting you submitting this application. And if you qualify, which you all have because you're now here, you come over to our mandatory pitch information session, which is tonight. So there are 3 components to the final application that are due on August 18th. That'll be a very short application, which I'll show you a picture of in a second. And then the more in-depth application is really your pitch and pitch deck. So your pitch is going to be a slide deck, and I'm going to go through each slide in a few minutes, explaining who your population is, what the problem is, what your potential solution is, and a variety of other things. And you will use that pitch deck to create a 7-minute pitch video. I'm going to go into way more detail in a minute. So the online application looks a little bit like this. You can see there's only like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions that you need to fill out. And then on that application page, you'll also is where you'll upload your pitch and your pitch deck. So your pitch video gets uploaded here, and your slide deck or your pitch deck gets uploaded here. Those 3 components are your application. And I'm going to stop there again and see if anybody has any questions. Okay, so the pitch. Again, this is a pitch-a-thon. So the pitch and your pitch deck are the most important components of this application. We are requiring a video submission for your pitch. It's a 7-minute video using your pitch deck where you're going to be pitching us your problem and solution. You can record your pitch on any platform you want. It just has to be in a format that you can upload in the application. So for example, a .mp4 video. We highly recommend doing it on a computer, not on your phone. And when you're doing your video, it is voice and slides only, no pictures of the team presenting. So we don't want any videos of videos of yourself while you're pitching on the video. We want these to be completely blinded by who is actually doing the pitching. So what makes a perfect pitch? It really is less of an academic presentation. It's not a research presentation. It really is about storytelling. You really want to bring the story to life and really be able to tug at people's heartstrings about who your population is, what the problem is, and how you're planning on solving the problem. Storytelling really allows you to connect with people rather just talking to them. So when you're putting your pitch together, you're going to want to craft a narrative that really tells a story. It has a good story has a beginning, middle, and end. And the way that you're going to put your pitch together is you'll start with a story that introduces your problem. You'll talk about all the components in your pitch deck, and then you're going to bring the story together as a close at the end. And again, I'm going to explain more about this when I go through the pitch deck template. If you have a personal connection to the problem that you're trying to solve, tell us. You want to make your pitch as personal as possible and make it really compelling so that we want to understand why it's so important to you, and you show that you're going to be able to solve this problem. All right, so the pitch deck then is going to be a presentation of up to 14 slides, and you have to include all the information in the template that we provide, and you have to use the template that we provide also. And I'm going to go over the template in a minute. The presentation of up to 14 slides has to be done within that 7-minute pitch, and we encourage you to only have 1 to 2 presenters maximum, and at least one of them has to be the nurse on the team, or the nurse team lead if possible. All right, so your pitch flow. So there are 9 sections in this pitch that you must discuss. So you have 9 slides, and you can have up to 14 total to discuss these 9 areas. Begin with the story, and I talked about what that means. You really do want to have a good, compelling story to talk about what your problem is and what your solution is. Next slide is your problem statement, so identifying the problem and why it's important to you, what your solution is. You're going to highlight key activities and impact, the competitive space. So you want to talk about who else is focusing on this problem and what other solutions are out there, and how yours is different. Who your customers are, so who's the target area for this solution and how are you going to reach them. Your budget, you're going to have a good breakdown of how much you're requesting for the grant, how it's going to be used, and what your total amount needed is. And this is where having buy-in from your health system is going to be really important. You may need to work with those folks in the C-suite to figure out your budget and some of the other revenue questions that are going to be asked. Sustainability, we really want these projects to be sustainable. So we're giving you this grant for a year, but how are you going to continue this program after that year is up? Who your team is and why you're going to be successful. And then the closing slide. Again, this is where you wrap up that story that you started in the beginning. So it comes full circle. All right, so now I want to go through each of the different slides of the pitch. This is really, really important. Like I said, you have to use our pitch template, which is what I'm showing you right now, and all the things in it must be included in detail to have a full comprehensive pitch deck that you're going to present in 7 minutes. It's going to seem like a lot in a very short period of time, but I promise you, you can do it. So you'll see then at the top here in pink, we have put in the suggested amount of time spent speaking about each of these components in the slide deck. This is suggested. It's going to be different for each team, but you'll notice that the suggested amount of time adds up to 7 minutes. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about how much time you need to spend on each of these different respective slides. All right, so the story. Again, you want to start with a story that brings the problem that you're solving to life. If you have a personal connection, great, tell us about it, but only tell us about it in about 45 seconds. You want to make sure that your story is the thread throughout the entire presentation. Again, a good story has a beginning, a middle, and end, and you want to make sure that your pitch deck flows accordingly. All right, so then next slide is the opportunity or problem statement slide. We suggest spending about a minute on this. I will say most teams spend way too much time telling us about the problem. As healthcare providers, for the most part, most of us know that the problems that other healthcare providers are trying to solve are an actual problem. So I would suggest not spending too much time setting up your problem. So we're saying about a minute to tell us what your problem is that you're solving, why it's an important problem to solve, and who your target population is, who is the problem, who are the people who are affected by the problem. Again, don't spend too much time on this, and make sure that you back it up with statistics and data. Really important. Next slide is your proposed solution. So we're saying spend about a minute on this slide. There's a lot to cover, but again, it is possible to do. So what is your solution? Describe it very concisely. How does it work? Who will it help? Why? Give evidence to support this claim. You want to convince the judges that your solution is superior to what else is out there. And a lot of that will go on the next slide, which is your competitive advantage slide. You want to highlight how your solution works. So what the activities are related to your solution, primary outcomes and impact. Really important, we want to know what your program goals are, and you want to make sure that they're SMART. So specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and timely. I said right now there's 9 slides in this template. You can use up to 14 slides in your pitch deck. So I would suggest breaking out some of this onto, say, 2 slides instead of 1. So you'll have to see when you're creating your slide deck where it makes sense to add extra slides and where it doesn't. I think for most people, you're going to want to spend at least 2 slides on your solution, especially when you're talking about your program goals and any research or contextual inquiry that you've already done about your proposed solution. So have you created a low fidelity prototype? Have you done any sort of testing in your institution around your solution? All of that should go in this area, and again, using probably up to 2 slides. Your next slide then is your competitive advantage slide. Who's your competition? What else is out there? What makes your solution unique? I'm suggesting no more than 30 seconds on this slide, and that's because you're going to use something called a competitor grid, which is very visual and doesn't take that much time to explain. So, if you're doing a solution on an interactive smartphone, you'd put Android, you'd put iPhone, you'd put whatever, and you talk about, what advantage they have and what advantage you have and how your solution is different. And it would all go on that little slide, or that little grid rather. All right, next slide is customers. So you'll want to discuss who's going to use your solution, how big is the market, are you marketing your solution to health systems, to patients, to providers? You really want to think that out. Spend about a minute on this slide, depending on how complex your solution is and whose problem it addresses. This could potentially be another slide where you use 2 slides instead of 1. Again, you'll have to decide as you're going through. But as a reminder, you have up to 14 slides total to include. Next slide is the budget slide, another extremely important slide. You want to spend about a minute on this slide talking about how much funding that you're requesting. We're going to need a detailed line item budget for year 1. So what resources do you need to conduct this is really what you should be including in that. So, are you going to use the money for prototype development? Are you going to use it for some consulting or technical support, purchasing materials, etc.? All that goes in your budget. And then you also are going to have to provide a high-level overview budget for year 2 and 3. This is really where that sustainability piece comes in. Yes, we're providing you funding for 1 year, which is why we want that detailed line item budget. But how are you going to potentially fund this after year 1? And that's where we really want to understand what you think your budget's going to be for year 2 and 3, and how you're going to get that funding for that. So projecting what your funding opportunities are going to be. Again, This goes back to having a good partnership with your C-suite. You may need some financial help from some folks there to help you with some of these budget projections. This is another slide where I can potentially see teams needing 2 slides to cover all of this. This is an example of a line item budget, just in case folks haven't seen that. Each of these little lines here, you would fill in whatever different parts of your project budgetary items you would need. So if it's equipment, you would put it there. If it's supplies, if it's consultants, whatever it is, what the line item is, what the cost is for year 1. Which brings us to sustainability. So this is, again, where you're going to have to talk about what your organizational's investment is in this, how your health system is helping you to not only develop your solution, but will help you sustain it after, again, that 1 year, what resources they're providing for this 1-year project, and you know, for the future afterwards as well. And again, we're suggesting about spending 1 minute on sustainability. Folks who are presenting this pitch-a-thon are really committed to picking projects that will be able to be sustained after the 1-year grant runs out. Second to last slide is your team slide. Again, suggesting no more than 15 seconds on this slide. This is really going to be more of a visual slide that describes your team, highlights your team's diversity. Again, you can't use images of people, so you're just going to be listing names, like areas of expertise, degrees, things like that. If there's any like secret sauce that your team is bringing to this project, you definitely can add it to this slide and make sure that's on there. And we also just want to make sure to note, again, going back to the needing sort of executive leadership buy-in and sponsorship, that we'd like to see one member of the team should be an executive leadership sponsor or advisor. So they should be a part of your team. And then final slide is your closing slide. This should be about 30 seconds, wrapping up the story that you started out with, you know, why you're working on this problem, why it means so much to you. You want to close with a summary of your need or population, heartfelt reason why your solution will solve the problem, and again, bringing it back full circle, thinking about your audience and how you want this to resonate with them. So there's more slides I want to cover, but that's the entire pitch deck. So I want to see if there's any questions before I move on, because it's a lot. There's a lot of things that we're asking you all to do and to cover in this pitch and pitch deck. And if you've never done a pitch or pitch deck before, a lot of it's going to be new. So are there any questions?
You did such a good job, Mary, and nobody's got questions.
All right. Or everybo's so overwhelmed and confused, they're not sure what to ask, which is fine too, and we want to hear that. So I'm going to keep moving, but I want to make sure everybody's okay and, you know, not totally freaked out.
Lisa had mentioned in the chat that she needs a chance to think, so.
Okay, all right, cool. So we understand that this is going to be new for a lot of people, and there is a lot of information we're asking for. So in addition to these information sessions, we're also offering mentorship sessions and office hours, 2 separate things. Open office hours where the organizers, myself, PM Nadell, who's not here tonight, Kathleen, Nico, Eileen, you know, a bunch of us will be at these office hours to answer questions. You're working through your pitch and pitch deck, you're not sure about something, come to an office hour, ask us, we'll talk it through with you. We also have mentorship available for specific questions. you're thinking about a solution with a technology component and you're not sure how to create that technology. All right, we can schedule some sessions with a technologist who can help you think that through. You're not sure about one of the human-centered components of your solution. Great, we have design thinking experts who can mentor you through the process. You're not sure about how to put a pitch together. Great, we can match you with some mentors who are really good with storytelling and pitch stuff. Highly recommend you take advantage of all these different ways that we can help support you through this process so that you have a successful application. All of these things are on our website, so you can sign up for them there, or for requesting requesting mentors, you can email us at support@nursehack4health.org. Again, all this is on the website. All right, and then, like I said, so that was the pitch and pitch deck and application that's due August 18th. And then we'll be reviewing all these applications, and finalists will be notified September 16th. Anybody who makes it through will then pitch at the final pitch session on October 6th. I did mention I would talk about the judging criteria. So we'll be looking at 7 different areas when we're reviewing those initial applications. This is going to be used for both the initial applications and the final pitch as well. But how it aligns with those 4 focus areas that I mentioned in the beginning. You have to select which focus area you fall into. So we'll be looking at how well the pitches and the solutions rather fall into those areas. Obviously impact, we want to make sure the projects that we're selecting are going to have an impact that's going to make a significant improvement on the well-being and workforce in healthcare. The rationale or evidence of what you're proposing, does it make sense? Is there data to support it? Your reach, does the submission reach the target population that you say is experiencing the problem? Again, with that component of impact. We're going to be looking at outcomes and evaluation, like how are you, this is where the SMART objectives come into play too. We want to see that you're going to be monitoring and measuring effects of your solution in your population. Obviously, feasibility. Are you able to do what you say you're going to do? Will the solution actually address the problem that you are trying to solve for? And then, of course, the big one, sustainability. Is there a clear plan for how you're going to sustain this program? You and your health system are going to sustain this program after the end of this grant. And like I said, then anybody who makes it through will do a live pitch on October 6th to a panel of expert judges for a chance to win up to $250,000. All right. So that's most of the stuff we wanted to cover. I have a couple other slides, but I'm going to stop here and we're going to just answer any questions you have.
My question is, the specific leader or executive has to be part of the team. Is that correct?
So they have to be, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong here, but they have to be part of the team in that they are fully supporting your application process, and they're helping you along the way in terms of, like, if you need information for the budget slide, or if you need help figuring out sustainability or the resources that your health system's going to put into your project. They don't have to be the ones doing the project, but you need C-suite executive leadership support, having confirmed that they will support this on your team.
Okay.
I look at it, Sebastian, as they're going to be your champion throughout your organization, because this is not really a pitch, right? This is a pitch that you're going to take to fruition to have some type of product or solution. And you're going to need a champion within your organization in order to do a pilot or a proof of concept, right? So that's why you really need that executive leader. And then I think to Marion's point, right? If you don't have, a background on finance, they might be able to help you with those things, or even connect you within your organization to some other resources that may be interested and may be able to assist.
And
Okay,
just from a pragmatic perspective, like if you get the funding and you don't have, then you can't pilot your idea. And it's just really meant as sort of a safety net for you so that, you've got the support you need. And if you get, an award, you can actually spend it and implement and, help the workforce, which is what this is about.
Right, and this will require time away from the bedside for clinical nurses. So if you're a clinical nurse, you're going to need your manager or other leaders to say, yes, I support you taking time away from other roles to work on this project. Something like that.
Thank you.
Lise?
Yes. Hi, I have two questions. One, we do have two gentlemen at our hospital that work throughout the system that do any videos or any kind of stuff that goes out to media. They're not professional, but they're employees. So the first question is, do you recommend that we use those people, or that we go to professionals for actually doing the video pitch? The second question is, when I look at some of these nurse pitches, like ANA just did a nurse pitch, it seems like the winners always, at least when you look them up on the website, they already have they've created their own company, they're beyond pilots, they've got the product created. So my question is, if this is something that we've wanted to create it for a long time, but we have never been able to formally structure and create, where we might have backing that can prove that that it is a necessary item within the company. So it really is, based on pilots that we have done in different studies, building on that and creating a bigger program. Is that okay to submit? Like, we don't have a company. I'm not the CEO of something where something already exists.
Yes, so let me answer your first question first. We're not looking for professionally developed video submissions. Honestly, you can start a Zoom and record on Zoom, or you can start a Teams session and record yourself on Teams. That's fine. We're not looking for these to be professionally videoed, applications. So does that answer question one for you? And also, like the computer, yes. If you have a Mac, you can record on your Mac. However, you can do both your slides and your voice overview for the pitch is fine.
I just want to add that PowerPoint also has a feature to record your slides. So if you click on the menu bar, it says slideshow, and you can select record slideshow and do it all within the environment there.
Right.
Yeah, so, and I'm sure our buddies Tim and Mike, who we've known forever here, right? They're like the staples at Atlantic Health. They can record it for us, right? They're our employees. They can record it for us. So I'm not worried about that. I just want to make sure, if it had to have some kind of professional edge on it. But my real concern is more so that whenever I look up some of these pitch-a-thons, it seems, the winners always seem to be, oh, their CEO, they just started their company and they've created this. And I mean, is that after they won? Or, I mean, is that,
It's a great question. All the different organizations and innovation challenges require different things. So for this pitch-a-thon, though, we're not looking for solutions that have already been implemented and turned into companies. We really do want, new ideas, new solutions. Now, it's always better that it's more than just an idea, right? Like, it's always better if you at least done something to show that, you've worked through, some of the implementation or low fidelity prototype of your solution, that you've given it thought in some way.
Yes, and we've actually some of the items within the project that we want to submit, we've already piloted with successful results. So we do have proof that it's important.
So that's perfect.
But we haven't had the opportunity to establish it.
And so this would be a perfect place to do that. So yeah, we're not looking for companies. We're looking for individual nurse-led ideas and nurse-led teams.
Awesome.
Help you
In-health systems.
In-health systems, right, to help you implement those solutions.
Thank you so much.
Great question. Other questions before I wrap us up? All right, so this is what we'd like from you. Apply. Most of you have already started the application process. You're eligible, you're here, you've done steps 1 and 2. The hard part is going to be step 3, the application, the pitch and pitch deck. So you want to make sure you're taking the next, 6 weeks before August 18th to get your pitch and pitch deck done. I will tell you right now, it takes longer than you think. So please don't wait till the last minute. You want to give yourself enough time to put together a really nice pitch deck and then write out a really nice pitch and then record it and submit it. Please spread the word. Let others in your health systems, in your networks know about the Pitch-A-Thon. The more pitches we get, the better. It just shows the breadth and depth of what nurse-led teams can do in innovation. And then, if you're able to support a team, volunteer as a mentor. If you have some skills or know folks who might be interested in supporting our teams as mentors, please let them know about the Pitch-A-Thon. And then, of course, follow us on social so that you can keep up with everything that we're doing around the Pitch-A-Thon and the NurseHack4Health. And with that, I think... right. You can find all the information from this information session and more on our website, NurseHack4Health.org. You can also reach any of us by emailing support@NurseHack4Health.org with any questions. Like I said, we are all here to support you every step of the way. There's the open office hours. There's the mentorship. You can email us for support. I would be happy to answer any questions as they come up as you're working on your pitch or pitch deck. So please don't feel shy about it. Use us. We're all here and committed to help you along the way. Personally, you can request me anytime by emailing support@NurseHack4Health, and I will make myself as available as I can. Any closing stuff that I missed from any of our organizers on the call?
No, I think that was great.
Covered
Yep.
everything.
Oh,
And
awesome.
well.
Cool.
I do think questions will arise. I thought that was a nice offer, right, Marianne? That questions are going to continue to arise, so reach out for your questions as they come up.
Yeah, I know. I am certain as you're starting to put your pitch decks together, questions will come up. So like Kathleen said, just reach out as needed. All right. Well, if there's no other questions, you guys should have 15 more minutes back in your day. And good luck.
Good luck, everybody.
We can't wait to see what you do.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining.